many of whom are here that I get to work with every day. And as I said about Korean last week, these people are already the stars of the team, but they're going to be shining stars in the future, and I'll miss them a lot. Okay.
Goodbye,
I promised
Witch.
I was going to keep it together. I'm not. This is the last part of this.
Don't come back.
I want to thank all of you in this room. You have challenged me, you have pushed me, you have debated me, and at times we have disagreed. That is democracy in action. That is it working. Without accountability, without debate, government is not as strong. And you all play an incredibly pivotal role. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for making me better. Most importantly, thank you for the work every day you do to make this country stronger. And I am very grateful to all of you as well. So thank you for your role and to the role of your colleagues here and around the world. Okay, with that, Zeke, go ahead.
Jen Psaki's final.
Thank you because my husband is here, and I think anybody
Who the hell would marry you?
Knows that without a remarkable spouse, you would never be able to do it. I know many of you have kids. I'm just looking at Ashley, Ed, Mary, so many, MJ, and he has not only been a supporter, an advocate of mine, but he is an incredible partner and dad, and I wouldn't be here without him. Okay, go ahead. Now let's talk about serious issues. Go ahead.
Bitch faces final day at the White House.
Is there a reason why the administration waited until this week, once the issues that are in the public, in the limelight, to take some of these actions that you've discussed? There's clearly that website. There's no resources that people might benefit from greatly over the last several weeks and months.
Well, Zeke, we have not waited to take action. So what we have
liars
done since the day
final
after
day.
the recall was announced, we actually took steps working with these producers and working with states to ensure both, one, we were pushing states and encouraging them to expand flexibility as it relates to WIC, which is, again, the biggest ask of most people we talk to. And then we've been working with manufacturers. And that has resulted in we're increasing production by 50%. On Ricketts, increasing production by 30%. And over the last 4 weeks, more production of formula than there was in the 4 weeks prior, and in comparison with last year. This is all work that has been underway for the last several months since this recall.
She screwed that up just like she screwed up the
website. This is a website we saw the need, of course, over the last 24 hours as people had questions and they needed more information. We wanted to make it readily available and accessible to people. But prior to that period of time, we had not seen, obviously, what we've seen over the last few days.
Did the president see and the White House have any reaction to the sort of images out of Israel this morning?
What are you going to do now that you can't lie no more? Who's the ass you going to kiss now? CNN's?
Well, I would say first that we have all seen those images. They're obviously deeply disturbing. This is a day where we should all be marking, including everyone there, the memory of a remarkable journalist who lost her life. We know that there is, with the disturbing footage from the funeral procession today in Jerusalem, we regret the intrusion into what should have been a peaceful procession. We've urged respect for the funeral procession, the mourners, and the family at this sensitive time. We're also in close touch with Israeli and Palestinian authorities, have been and obviously will continue to be, especially given the images we've seen today. We're not currently involved in the investigation, but we are working to bridge cooperation and available to provide assistance as needed.
Is there a reason why the president's meeting with King Abdullah this morning was not open to the press? Usually the president's meeting with foreign leaders are open to actually ask questions.
I understand completely. It's a private meeting. It wasn't meant to be a bilateral meeting of discussion. They've known each other for some time. Go ahead.
Thank you. On the issue of the formula shortage.
Can I ask you a question from the back? I understand, but for 15 months you have been
formula.
And I'm saying that for the sake of equity, you should have
Thank you for your service, and thank you for your husband for your service as well. On the issue of formula, I think if anything, this crisis has reminded everyone that
Simon, if you could respect your colleagues and other media and reporters in here, that would be greatly appreciated. Go ahead, Mary.
Greatly appreciate it if you shut up too.
If anything, this has reminded, I think, the entire country and the world that this is not a luxury item, but an essential. Thank you. Formula is not a luxury item, it is an essential. It is something that families across the country president thinks that we need some kind of a backstop, some ability to surge in the way that we do for other essential items, perhaps even some kind of stockpile.
Well, I would say there has been discussion, and some members of Congress have raised questions, say, of the Defense Production Act, which that would be something which is on the table. We've not made a decision about, but would help address issues over the long term. What we are doing here is we're trying to ensure that states and others can plan over the long term, as in the coming months. But it is certainly a reminder that not only do we need to continue to work closely with manufacturers, continue to work closely with retailers and providers, but ensure that everybody knows what they can do to get access over the longer term. There's not a discussion of a stockpile. What we need to do is ensure we are addressing any issues in the supply chain and addressing any issues with speeding up manufacturing.
You mentioned the Defense Production Act, and forgive me if I'm not understanding how this works,
Sure.
but how would that actually work? Because you say you're exploring it, but it seems that
She don't know, so don't ask her.
not having enough manufacturing capacity. So is it really a matter of just looking for other sites that can produce this?
Well, that's exactly right, Marion. So the reason why it would have a longer term impact is because the production of baby formula is so specialized and so specific that you can't just use the Defense Production Act to say to a company that produces something else, produce baby formula. It just doesn't work that way exactly. That is something that could be a consideration over the longer term, and certainly there are ways that the Defense Production Act has been used in other industries, right, as it relates to a chemical that is needed or a specific tool or part that is needed. So right now, of course, we're keeping that option under consideration, but our focus primarily is on twofold. One is increasing supply, and the other is making it readily available. And obviously production is working with these manufacturers, and also imports, making sure we're making more baby formula available through imports, and then making it readily available. The biggest step we can take is this WIC flexibility component, which obviously we took 2 steps, not just pushing states, but also working with Abbott to ensure they're providing a rebate for longer term planning.
And just lastly, you said that the FDA is going to have more on easing imports and some of those steps next week, but does the president
Thank you for
think that
watching the
parents
bitch
should be allowed
talk
to
at
buy
our
formula
final
directly
speech.
from abroad?
Well, there have been
Please hit that subscribe button
limitations
and
on
hit
this,
that
because,
bell
of course, we have
so you get the latest
a very
updates
high
that I
level
update
of,
every day.
FDA approval processes
And
to
hit
ensure
that
that
like
we have
button
the
and
best
comment
formula
if you
that is
want.
safe for
We
babies.
accept comments.
And of course, whatever formula would be imported would meet those
Not like
standards.
these Democrats.
But we think
They
the
don't
best
want no
steps we
debate.
can take is to work with Abbott, and Abbott has a responsibility here too, to work closely with the FDA and doing the steps that are necessary to get back and operational online. We have a great deal of manufacturing capacity here in the United States. That's less the issue. The issue is obviously this was a recall in February, and as a reminder was done because there was a factory in Michigan that had tainted formula that killed 2 babies. But we have a range of manufacturing capacity here. So this import step would be not forever or necessarily even long term. It's just to address the current need. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you for your work in the last 16 months. You said yesterday that the United States would support Sweden and Finland's application to NATO. Turkey is a current NATO member, and the president.
Thanks for watching. I can't listen to our bullshit no more. Subscribe.